Originally, I have a quiet nature, and perhaps because my parents raised me to be kind to others, I fundamentally never get angry with people, and sometimes even sacrifice myself. Still, I thought that if it's for the sake of others. I had been told by my friends that I should express my emotions more forcefully, but I like seeing people smile, so I've lived my life thinking others before myself. I graduated from university and got a job at a fairly large advertising agency. Although I was shy, I thought that I might become more assertive if I worked in sales, and I was interested in the work of sales, so I volunteered to be assigned to the sales department. For the first 3 years after joining the company, I was assigned to work at a branch office, which was a bit far from the headquarters. When I joined the company, the branch manager and my superior, Noah San, was very caring. Instead of getting angry at the mistakes of his subordinates, he emphasized how to avoid making the same mistakes. And when I made a mistake, he was the kind of person who would think with me and encourage me. He was highly trusted not only by the employees, but also by the branch manager and our clients. And there were always people around Noah San. I think the company's sales were quite good when Mr. Noah was my boss. However, in my second year at the company, Noah San was transferred to the headquarters, and Jacob became my new boss. Jacob was from the headquarters, and to be honest, I had never heard good rumors about him. He was known for his lazy character, being kind to young women, but arrogant to married employees, women with children, and young male employees. I've heard that many people have quit because of him. However, he is always obsequious to the president and those who are convenient for him. Despite his incompetence, he was good at flattering others, and this rumor had reached our branch. When it was announced that the notorious Jacob was coming to the branch, there were even some women employees who said,
"I want to quit if Jacob is coming."
I was anxious about such a person coming to our branch as a boss, and I faced Jacob's first day. As always, I arrived at work 15 minutes before the start time. I've made it a daily routine to clean in the morning since I joined the company, and I was going to start work after cleaning that day too. When I opened the door, someone was already there. I was surprised and said, "Good morning," to which a loud voice replied,
"Good morning. Who are you?"
"I'm Leo, I stammered.
"I'm Jacob from headquarters. Nice to meet you. Are you always the first one here?"
"Yes. Since I joined the company, I've been coming in earlier than everyone else and cleaning. It's my daily routine."
"Is that so?"
After saying just that, Jacob walked around the room. As I was cleaning without any concerns, other employees started to arrive one after the other. Each of them greeted Jacob, and then it was time for the first meeting of the day. Jacob started off by saying,
"Once again, I'm Jacob from headquarters. Make sure you pull yourselves together so that we don't hear any talk about sales dropping since I came. I'm going to be tough on employees whose sales aren't good."
I was taken aback when I heard that. At that time, despite being in my second year at the company, even new employees were outperforming me in terms of sales results, and I was so frustrated with myself. I was wondering if I wasn't cut out for sales. So when I heard Jacob's words, I looked down. Then Jacob said,
"For now, those whose names I call, step forward."
As expected, my name was called. And from there, he started a 30-minute sermon for each of the employees who were made to stand at the front. When it was my turn, he pointed at the sales performance board and said, laughing,
"You seem to be cleaning every morning, which would be fine if you could do your job."
He then added,
"How about thinking about how to improve your performance instead of cleaning?"
I could barely respond yes to his mocking words. Is it okay to be like this from the first day? I thought while trying to switch my mood. As I headed to the schedule board to write down today's outside visit plan, Jacob said loud enough for everyone to hear,
"You seem to have mediocre results, but you do make sure to go out and visit customers. I'm impressed."
Embarrassment welled up within me, and I replied in a small voice, "I'll be on my way," and left the room. As I passed the pantry with a sigh, two female employees making tea were talking.
"I heard Jacob always finds someone to bully. Maybe someone he named earlier caught his eye." I thought so too. He's definitely looking for a target among them. Yeah, like Leo, for example. He's shy.
Hearing those voices, I froze on the spot. What should I do? It really might be me. Among those called today, I'm the only one who's been with the company for 2 years. With various thoughts swirling in my head, a female employee coming out of the pantry noticed me and said,
Oh, were you here, Leo? I'm sorry. Did you hear that?
I replied, no, it's fine. It's true that my performance is not up to par.
But we see you working hard close by. We've also heard from customers that you're a great salesperson who really thinks about their needs. So keep going. We're cheering for you.
She handed me a piece of candy. Watching the female employee leave, I thought to myself, even if I do become Jacob's new target, as long as my performance improves, there shouldn't be a problem. I'm struggling with my performance now, but not everyone is always on top. I won't be discouraged by this. I will propose good deals to my clients. I cheered myself up and headed out to sales. From then on, I worked frantically to improve my performance. My results started to improve little by little, but compared to my peers, they were still poor. I was scolded by Jacob almost every day, and when Jacob made a mistake, he'd grumble.
My work is being affected because Leo's performance isn't improving.
He'd find fault with me and start berating me. To top it off, when a female employee asked to leave early because her child was running a fever, he said,
This is why I can't deal with parents. The company will run fine without you, you know. Why don't you just go home and take care of your child?
He said such horrible things that she ended up crying. On the other hand, when a young new female employee looked sick, he would say,
It would be lonely without your charm around. But you're an important employee. Go home early and come back when you're feeling better.
He patted the female employee's shoulder, and she also went home looking apologetic. After that, she seemed to lose her energy at work, perhaps because she was conscious of the eyes of others. Day by day, the atmosphere in the office got worse, and finally, several employees quit. Yet, Jacob stubbornly refused to admit any fault.
Those people just lack grit,
he said, disparaging the employees who had left in front of everyone, showing no intention of changing his approach. Then one day, the president came to the branch.
This is Henry, who will be joining us from today. Jacob, he's a valuable asset, so I'm counting on you to be his mentor.
He said, bringing with him a man in his 50s. At first glance, Henry was a bit on the chubby side. His hair was thinning, and he had a somewhat downcast look about him. Honestly, he looked like a bit of an underdog. Jacob was in high spirits in front of the president.
President, leave it to me. I will train him to be a superb salesman in no time,
he boasted.
I've heard that the sales at this branch have been slightly down recently, so I'm counting on you,
said the president, causing Jacob's face to tense up. As soon as the president left, Jacob's attitude completely changed.
Hey, Leo,
he yelled at me, and I hurried over to him.
You're going to be his mentor.
But the president just said you would be the mentor, Jacob, I protested.
You're going to tell me what to do. I'm busy with other work. There's no way this old man will be of any use,
he retorted, knocking his chair over. His shouting and actions scared some of the female employees, and as I was standing there flustered, Henry straightened up the chair and spoke in a gentle voice.
I am Henry. Pleased to meet you. I'm sure I have many shortcomings, but I hope we can get along.
He bowed deeply, then said,
This is a little something by way of greeting,
handing out cream puffs from a popular shop to each of us, lightening the mood. Henry took a seat next to me and bowed deeply again.
Leo, I'm sorry for imposing on you to be my mentor.
Please lift your head, Henry. I apologize for the unpleasant atmosphere in the office as soon as you arrived. My post-sales performance has been putting Jacob in a bad mood every day. It's partially my fault. I'm really sorry, I replied.
I see. But I can tell that you're working hard in sales just by looking at your desk. Let's work hard together,
he said, looking at the mountains of documents on my desk, listing the companies I was in charge of, the issues I had identified, and the materials for companies I was trying to sell to, and encouraged me. He even added,
The fact that you are considering your clients shows that you're a good salesman. I know it might not mean much coming from me, but I think you're doing a great job.
Hearing his kind words, I felt as if a light had been rekindled in my heart. That day, I showed him around the office, explained the basics of our work, and we had lunch together at a nearby diner. When I asked him, "Why did you decide to change jobs now?"
My previous company went bankrupt. I saw a job listing for this company, and embarrassingly, I decided to apply.
He said, I thought it was strange as I didn't recall any listings for mid-career hires, but I responded, I see. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'll do my best to help you acclimate to your new job as quickly as possible.
Leo, you're a good person. I'm glad to have someone like you as a mentor.
He said, making me feel really happy. Since then, I taught Henry the basics of sales and even how to answer the phone, doing my best to instruct him within my own capacity. But I also had to keep up with my own sales tasks, and honestly, I didn't have much room to breathe. Still, I didn't want Henry to have a hard time, so I tried to spend as much time as I could with him and support him in whatever way I could. A week later, Jacob called both me and Henry.
I've got a great idea.
Jacob said, with a grin on his face that filled me with dread.
If you and Henry don't increase our sales by 10 million by this day next year, you're fired. What do you think? Good plan, right?
I was left speechless. That's reckless, I managed to say.
But the sales aren't increasing, are they? Leo, you must be feeling your limits by now. And Henry, at his age, finding another job would be a challenge. He probably can't work anyway. He's useless. You should be grateful that I'm even giving you a year's grace.
Jacob said loudly. I stood there, unable to utter a word, when suddenly,
Understood. 10 million, right?
Henry shot back, surprising me. Henry, what are you saying? It's impossible to generate 10 million in sales, I said in a panic.
We'll be fine, Leo. If we work together, we can pull it off.
Henry said confidently. Hearing our exchange, Jacob laughed out loud.
All right. Do your best. I'll be looking forward to it.
He said, almost falling over with laughter as he left the room.
Are you guys okay? If there's anything we can help with, just let us know. We were too scared to speak up against Jacob, but we're on your side.
The other employees started to chime in, making me feel like crying.
Leo, it's too early to cry. Let's save our tears of joy for this day next year.
Henry said, grabbing my hand firmly. Encouraged by his strong grip, I started to focus on finding new clients with Henry the next day. I set up meeting after meeting with potential customers, but I struggled to land any contracts. On the other hand, Henry was closing deal after deal, increasing our sales significantly. How was he doing it despite this being his first sales job? I decided to join him on a few sales calls and observed how he quickly identified problems and areas for improvement. He was able to persuade even the most reluctant customers by explaining the benefits in an easy to understand and respectful way. I thought this was your first sales job. How can you easily win the hearts of customers? I asked him.
Well,
Henry pondered for a moment, then said,
I just think about what's best for the other person and listen to them carefully, just like you always do, Leo.
With a smile on his face, I was taken aback. Yes, I did try to think about the customer and make proposals, but when a customer said no, I would become desperate, lose my composure, and insist on my proposal, not fully hearing the customer's concerns or issues. Henry patted me on the back and said,
You'll be fine, Leo.
Inspired by Henry, I started to rethink my approach. I began to consider the customer's perspective and adapt my proposals. And sure enough, my results began to improve dramatically. I started closing contracts with ease, and my performance soared. And Henry was right there with me, also excelling. Half a year later, we were both competing for the top spot. And then, a year after that promise, Henry and I each achieved sales of 10 million. We were praised directly by the president. On the other hand, Jacob, who didn't achieve significant results and didn't amend his attitude, was scolded by the president.
I've heard the rumors, but it seems you really are the most incompetent employee. Moreover, despite being assigned as Henry's mentor, you left it all to Leo. What have you been doing?
And then,
Also, I heard you said if those two couldn't achieve sales of 10 million, they'd be fired. What authority do you have to say such a thing? You're the one who's getting fired.
with these words, he was really let go. After that, Henry shared the real story. He had been a salesperson for 30 years and retired early at the age of 50. After retirement, he worked as a consultant. However, the president, an old acquaintance, pleaded with him to help turn around the branch office, even if it was just for a year-long contract, and kindly Henry agreed. It also seemed he was assigned to the branch office to monitor Jacob's behavior, which had become a problem at the main office. From Henry,
I'm truly sorry for lying about the company going bankrupt, being a mid-career hire, and this being my first sales job. It weighed heavily on my conscience.
he bowed his head in apology. To Henry, I responded, "Don't worry about it. Thanks to you, my performance has improved. I've rediscovered the joy of sales, and I've realized what's important. I'm truly grateful." I bowed my head to Henry. After that, Henry really left the office after a year, and now he's involved as a consultant for both the main office and branch. He frequently visits both offices, brings delicious snacks, listens to the employees' concerns, and is trusted and relied upon by everyone. I've been maintaining the top sales performance since then, and although I was offered a transfer to the main office, I decided to stay at this branch where I have comrades who help me in tough times. I'm now in charge of training new employees. I'm working hard to ensure the new employees enjoy their work without forgetting the initial enthusiasm. Henry and I are now drinking buddies, and although some people laugh, saying it's quite an age gap for friends, he is the person who saved me, a friend, and I plan to continue to work diligently while cherishing this bond.